Really, really early today. I'm in the living room, the plants and things behind me. And I don't think I'm going to feel like reading later on tonight, so I'm going to do it now. We left off just starting in part 4 of The Plague by Albert Camus. I've got 2 devices recording right now because I keep having technical stuff happen with my phone, so just in case, I've got the iPad going too. Where did I leave off? Oh yeah, Cotard is enjoying the criminal who tried to kill himself. He's enjoying the plague. Theroux seemed to detect little, if any, spitefulness in Cotard's attitude. His "I've been through the mill myself" had more pity than triumph in it. "I suspect," Theroux wrote, "that he's getting quite fond of these people shut up under their little patch of sky within their city walls. For instance, he'd like to explain to them, if he had a chance, that it isn't so bad as all that. You hear them saying," he told me, "after the plague, I'll do this or I'll do that. They're eating their hearts out instead of just staying put. And they don't even realize the privilege. Take my case. Could I say after my arrest, I'll do this or that? Arrest is a beginning, not an end. Whereas a plague, do you know what I think? They're fretting simply because they won't let themselves go. And I know what I'm talking about." He knows what he's talking about, Theroux added. He has an insight into the anomalies in the lives of the people here who, though they have an instinctive craving for human contact, can't bring themselves to yield to it because of the mistrust that keeps them apart. Because it's common knowledge that you can't trust your neighbor. He may pass a disease to you without you knowing it and take advantage of a moment of inadvertence on your part to infect you. When one has spent one's days, as Cotard has, seeing a possible police spy in everyone, even in people they feel drawn to, it's easy to understand this reaction. One can have good feelings towards people who are haunted by the idea that when they least expect it, plague may lay its cold hand on their shoulders, and is perhaps about to do so at the very moment when one is congratulating oneself on being safe and sound. As far as is possible, he is at ease under this reign of terror, but I suspect that just because he has been through it before them, he can't wholly share with them the agony of this feeling of uncertainty that never leaves them. It comes to this: like all of us who have not yet died of this plague, he realizes that his freedom and life can be snatched from him at any moment. But since he personally has learned what it is to live in a state of constant fear, he finds it normal that others should come to know this state. Perhaps it should be put like this: fear seems to him more bearable under these conditions than it was when he had to bear the burden alone. In this respect, he's wrong, and that makes him harder to understand than other people. But after all, that's why he's worth a greater effort to understand. Theroux's notes end with a story illustrating the curious state of mind arrived at, no less by Cotard than by other dwellers in the plague-stricken town. The story recreates, as nearly as can be, the curiously feverish atmosphere of the period, and that is why the narrator attaches importance to it. One evening, Cotard and Theroux went to the municipal opera house where Orpheus was being played. Cotard had invited Theroux. A touring opera company had come to Orléans in the spring for a series of performances. Marooned there by the outbreak of plague and finding themselves in difficulty, the company and management of the opera house had come to an agreement under which they were to give 1 performance a week until further notice. And so, for several months, the theater had been resounding every Friday evening with the laments of Orpheus and Eurydice's vain appeals. Nonetheless, the opera continued in high favor and played regularly to full houses. From their seats, the most expensive, Cotard and Theroux could look down at the orchestra seats filled to capacity with the cream of Orléans society. It was interesting to see how careful they were as they went to their places to make an elegant entrance. When the musicians were discreetly tuning up, men in evening dress could be seen moving from one row to another, bowing gracefully to friends under the flood of light bathing the proscenium. In the soft hum of well-mannered conversation, they regained the confidence that was denied to them when they walked the dark streets of the town, evening dress being a sure charm against the plague. Throughout the first act, Orpheus lamented suavely his lost Eurydice, with women in Grecian tunics singing melodious comments on his plight, and his love was sung in alternating strophes. The audience showed their appreciation with discreet applause. A few people noticed that in his song during the second act, Orpheus introduced tremolos not in the score and voiced an exaggerated emotion while begging the Lord of the Underworld to be moved by his tears. Some jerky movements he indulged in gave our connoisseurs of stagecraft an impression of clever, if slightly overdone effects, intended to bring out the emotions of the words he sang. And it was not until the big duet between Orpheus and Eurydice in the third act, at the precise moment when Eurydice was slipping from her lover, that a flutter of surprise ran through the house. And as though the singer had been waiting for this cue, or more likely because the faint sounds that came to him from the orchestra seats confirmed what he was feeling, he chose this moment to stagger grotesquely to the footlights, his arms and legs spread out under his robe and fall down in the middle of the property.
Apparently they've been trying to reopen it since it was
In the eyes of the spectators, appallingly. For at the same moment the orchestra stopped playing, the audience rose and began to leave the auditorium, at first slowly and silently, like worshippers leaving church when a service ends. Women lifting their skirts and moving with bowed heads, men steering ladies by the elbow to prevent them from touching or getting near the tip-up seats at the ends of the rows. But soon and gradually their movements quickened, whispers rising to exclamations and shouts. And finally, the crowd stampeded to the exits, wedged together in a bottleneck, and pouring into the street in a confused mass with shrill cries of dismay. Cottard and Theroux, who had merely risen from their seats, gazed down at what was a dramatic picture of their life in those days. Pneumonic plague, on the stage, in the guise of a disarticulated actor, and in the auditorium the toys of luxury, fans, shawls, so futile now, forgotten derelict on the red plush seats. I'm going to, it's actually a section end right there. So I'm going to call it a day.
Yeah,
really
it
short
won't
read,
save it
but,
direct from Instagram, so I've got to
it is the
record the
middle of the
screen.
day.
It's kind of
And
fucked up.
I feel like, I just feel like I'm going to be
but I'm fixing it this way.
too tired later. I've done 2 paintings today and started a third, so I'm kind of hoping I can finish that one. I hope I can finish that one. And if I can, I'll post it probably tonight. But I'm going to go take it easy for a while. I'm going to eat. I made some brioche bread with a sourdough that Katie gave me, and it's really, really fucking good. It's only the second time I've ever baked bread, so really exciting. Yeah, this is my garden starts. I just got some mason jars out of the back room and stuff, so I'm ready for garden time. That's it for now. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care, be safe, do all the things you need to do. You know, everybody knows. I'm gonna wave to everyone, and I hope this saves so I don't have to use the backup, because the backup's weird because I'm looking at the wrong camera the whole time. Hi, Elsa.